Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Alexina and this is my reflection on PSM1 where I investigated cross-lingual data leakage risks in large language models comparing English and Malay. So going through this process, the biggest lesson wasn't technical. It was about argumentation. So early on, I assumed that identifying a research gap was enough, but my evaluators pushed back, saying that no one has studied Malay, doesn't answer why it matters or who is actually affected. So that forced me to ground my problem statement in real deployment risks, like things like banking and healthcare chatbots used by Malay speakers, and instead of staying purely theoretical. I also learned that every methodology choice needs to be justified against real alternatives and not just described, and that any technical claim I make, like tokenization disparity, has to be checked against my own data before I generalize it to my specific case. So based on that feedback, I made several concrete changes. First, I wrote chapter 1 to connect the semantic safety gap to real consequences, including Malay's PDPA. And in chapter 2, I added a proper comparison of attack methodologies to justify why I choose DEA and MIA over jailbreaking or automated red teaming. And importantly, I reframed my claim about the lack of standardized metrics. And instead of saying no reliable way to measure leakage exists, which undermine my own methodology, I clarified that I'm validating and extending existing metrics for a cross-lingual context. So looking ahead, PSM2 will be about execution. I'll run EAA and MAA across all three target models and compute ASR, WLS, ELR, and PDR. And I specifically want to test whether Malay's leakage risk comes from its agglutinative morphology rather than tokenization cost, since Malay's tokenization premium is actually low. And throughout, I want to be clear about what's genuinely mine, which is the bilingual dataset, the prompt design, and the evaluation pipeline. So this process taught me that a strong thesis isn't just about having a gap, it's about defending why closing that gap matters. Thank you.